Chris Cartman, son of a source. Kenny, how you doing?
Phenomenal.
Great. So, have you been following the stuff about salary caps and with the costs of college football roster continuing to soar? What are your thoughts about that and about what it takes to be competitive?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm following it. I don't put too much into things until they happen. So I don't, some people, in today's day and age, you can make 5 million contingency plans. I mean, you can make contingency plans over this lawsuit, over this, over, if things are going to pass, Congress and stuff like that. I really don't put much thought into something until it goes through, because there are so many things out there that I feel like you could chase a lot of ghosts. So haven't put much thought into it. Have I, driving in the car, thought about it? Yes, but detailed thoughts about what our plan would be depending on things going different directions, not much.
Do you have an opinion about what would be some of the best practices for this thing to make it equitable, fair, if that's even possible?
I think regardless of what you do, you're going to rob Peter to pay Paul. Regardless of the direction this thing goes, so you're going to have happy people and unhappy people. So I think it really just depends on what everybody's viewpoint of what it should look like. If it goes your way, you're going to be happy. If it doesn't go away, you're not going to be happy. And so I don't think you can please everybody. So I think it's just a matter of who are the primary people that college football is supposed to support and is supposed to appease. Is it the student athlete? Is it the university? Is it TV networks? Is it conferences? Is it the country, and keeping competitive people engaged, at all levels of college? I think people are going to have to just make those decisions, and whichever side you fall on will, you'll figure out if you like it or not.
Very political, but so...
it's the truth, though.
Yeah, but so would you like to see certain things?
For me personally, I just want to see rules. So I don't care what those are. I just want to know what we're playing by. And if you're not playing by rules, I want to know that there are no rules. That's fine too. It doesn't matter. So I guess that's why it's a political answer, because I really don't care, other than I know how I'm allowed to operate and what legally you're allowed to do. So if legally we're allowed to sign anybody we want at any moment, great. If legally we're only allowed to sign this group of guys, great. If legally you can pay people whatever you want, great. If you can't, great. I don't care. Just tell me what it is so I can create a plan, because the hardest part right now is you may create a strategy, and then all of a sudden this strategy you feel as your organization is the best strategy, but that strategy may be something that if they drastically changed the way that you can enter the portal, or they drastically changed a salary cap to current student athletes versus kids that you would take in the portal. Well, you may have a strategy that's about plan A, and you may have done that strategy for 2 years, and then one rule makes that strategy the worst strategy you could have ever done for 2 straight years. And now your strategy was great, but now it sets your program back 2 years because something you had no effect on, that you had no control over. That's the hardest part, is you kind of got to guess what's going to happen and hope you're right. And it's not like it's catastrophic, but you're trying to win the margins. So when you're creating these strategies, it's the margin win. Hard to win the margins when you don't know what the rules are going to be in 2 years to win those margins. So that would be the answer to your question. I just want to know what it is, and let's go.
Jordan Code Bob. Hey Kenny, Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. As you got some time away from 2025, what were the biggest lessons you learned that you're applying?
Yeah, I think number one for us is, if we want to be a physical football team, if we want to be a team that can win in the fourth quarter consistently, you have to practice like that. You can't just wake up and have that identity. And I think so for me, it's just, we hit that mid-season. I felt like moment where we kind of changed that back. And I thought at that point we played better football. From that point, we had some injuries, but we played better football. So I think you got to live your identity. It can't be something you say and then you tailor back. You got to go all in with it. And then players win. You got to be able to balance your identity with keeping guys healthy, keeping guys on the field. And that's sometimes out of your control. Sometimes it can be in your control. You know, it just depends on the injury. So I would say like managing people would probably be that number one piece of who do you want to be, what do you want to be as a culture, and then managing the people to make sure that they can get there on game day, play on game day within the culture that you want. Not just get them to game day. Getting guys to game day, right, but not developing them doesn't help them. Like, how do we develop these players to be the best player they are on game day, not just on the field? Like, we want them to grow.
One being on Devil's Digest, Kenny, when you look at the offensive line coming out of spring practice, it looks like probably at the center and left guard positions are pretty much set in terms of starters. How do you see the position battles materializing in the front five? How do you see that group as a whole coming into fall?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of, I wouldn't say we have like set starters even really inside. I think there's a few combinations. You know, O-line is probably the most unique position to name starters because it's so much chemistry is involved because you're so close to each other and you react so quickly. So it's like, okay, this player A may be better than player B, but player C plays better with player B. So player C and B play better together than player A and B and A and C. Well, A's the best, but he's not the best with B and C. So B and C got to play. So I think there's always in that position kind of an evolving door of movement where you got to dual train some people to get your best guys on the field. I think we know who our best players are leaving spring, but I don't know what that best combination is. I think that's what we're trying to figure out on the inside. On the outside, you know, we got good competition out there. Champ went through spring, but was coming off a big injury, or not a big injury, but you know, he was going through things to get back healthy. It wasn't a major injury, so he was kind of limited. And then I thought Clem stepped up and did a nice job, got voted on our leadership council. So I mean, I think there's a lot of competition at that spot, and then mixing and matching who those best five are, I think is going to be the key. And then you're always going to rotate to 8 for us if we had our druthers. So I think that's kind of the goal through spring. What's the best combo?
Bob, Ken, Michelle.
Kenny and Bob McMahon of Arizona Republic. So we got to figure things out. I was curious about your comments about the team's identity this year. You said you want them to find it and resolve it. I have a few questions about that. Why aren't you telling them what they should be? Why let them pick it? And one more question after you answer that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would hope your guys choose to be an identity that you live every day and preach every day, right? But if your players don't believe in who you are, then that's not your identity anyways. My players aren't the identity that I believe in. My players are the identity I believe in if they believe in my identity of what I want as a team. So when I say I want them to create their identity, hopefully there's a lot of things that I preach, but there may be something that's different. And if there's something that's different that they say we want our identity to be blank, and that's really important to them, I've got to be able to adapt too and say, okay, they want their identity. I hope they would never say finesse, but let's say they're like, hey, we want to be a finesse team this year. We want to trick people. That's what they believe. What am I supposed to say? Like, you can't do that? No. But then they're not going to believe in what I'm doing, right, and what we're doing as a team. So I think it's extreme ownership. If you want people to take extreme ownership, you've got to give them control. So I would say most of the times what their identity and what they say they want to be and what they've articulated to me is within exactly what we do. Just the order of importance to them may be a little different. And I may be able to say, well, do you really think that's the most important, and talk through them? But if they still believe that our identity number one is A, that's what we want to be, I've got to get behind them. And I got to say, how do we build the best team with this identity? Because an identity is who you are, not what you say you are. If that's what they say they are, then that's what we are. Let's build around what we say we are.
Last question, then. What are they going to be?
We'll find out. I saw a team this offseason, this spring, that worked. That work. Like, if you're looking at me from the outside I'm not a player. I'm just watching what they do. And I think that's my role as the head coach, is to watch a lot and take that information in and then make decisions based off of it. So I think for them, I think these guys work. I think they care. I don't think they're going to quit. I think they're going to fight. I think they're going to be super competitive. So I think it's going to be a team that you can like feel when they're on the field. Like you're going to see the passion. You're going to see the care level. I think that's because how much work they put in. You know, it's hard to quit when you put in a lot of work. It's easy to quit something you've been at for 2 weeks. It's easy to quit at something you've been at and you've given minimum effort. Very difficult to get down 21 and know that you worked as hard or harder than anybody in the country and say, oh, this game's over. Hard. It's harder to do that because you put so much in. You can't, you're in disbelief that you're down 21. You still have the belief you're going to win because of what you put in, right? So I'd say I think that's what I think our identity is going to be, is a team that won't quit, a team that's going to give it everything they can, a team who has like a super high care level.
Cam, Michelle, Rick.
Kenny, good morning. Knoxville News. Do you have a leader in the clubhouse at the quarterback position?
No, I think it's going to be a good competition going in. I saw ups and downs, from the younger guys. Mikey was Mr. Consistency throughout camp, and that's kind of what we wanted to bring in. We wanted to bring in some combinations of high ceilings with consistency, a lot of veteran leadership from him. So I think we got a really good natural competition going into camp. Next question, when I'm going to name a starter, I'm going to name a starter before we start preparing for week 1, which is about 9 to 10 days out. I don't believe in a quarterback competition going into week 1. I want to know who it is, and our guys know we have a plan and we believe in something. If somebody separates themselves earlier, home run. And if they separate themselves earlier, you guys come to practice, everybody's going to know it. It's going to be very clear that they separated, and that would be the dream scenario. The worst thing as a coach is when you have to make the decision when it's not clear, because it makes it more challenging, which is why I like to announce who it's going to be.
And then to follow up real quick, obviously, in year 4, how many times do people say activate the valley? And then do you remember, I couldn't remember, was that an ad lib or did you have that on notes to say?
I never do notes, so I can't read a presentation like that. I can't read in public. That's not my strength. So definitely an ad lib from that perspective, and a lot, which is a good thing. I mean, it's a little like goofy now, right? Because now people say it so much, it's kind of funny, right? But it's a good thing. Like, even though it's quirky and weird, people have rallied behind it, and like that's the best part. Is like some weird quirky saying kind of caught fire, and now it's kind of like a trend in the city when it comes to sports. Like, that's very, very common. It's almost like the rallying cry throughout the city when it comes to ASU, football athletics, which is pretty fun that it caught on at that rate. And I mean, I wish I could say it's me. It's a testament to our players winning football games. If we were, 4-8 last year and 5-7 the year before that, it would be the opposite of activating the valley. Would be the jokes, and everybody would be making a joke about it. So our players winning games have definitely, elevated that, and the selling out crowds, and we have over a 90% renewal rate again, which I know nothing about tickets. I guess that's really good. Is what I was informed, that like you shoot for like 85%. We're in like the 90, 91 range already. We're about to sell more season tickets this year. We're about to put more on sale than we did last year, and we're really close. I mean, here in this year, by next year, like, we're gonna be sold out of season tickets. You'll be on a list to buy a season ticket here, which is crazy to process in 4 years. We're now on the verge of being on a season ticket wait list here. So there's not many season tickets left, whether that wait list starts by we sell out season tickets to the end this year or by next year. We're right there from you can't just call and get a season ticket anymore, which is, for some organizations, that's like the norm. Like, well, you can just call and get a season ticket, and it's like laughable a little bit. For others that's growing, it's like, holy cow, you guys went from here to now you can't buy one, and we're like right there. So I would say if you're on the fence, right, waiting till next year is a little bit of a risk, because there may not be them available anymore, because we're right on that cusp. I don't know the cusp number. I was just told that information and we're getting close. So take that for what it's worth.
Michelle, Craig, Damon.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Coach, on the tight end position. Has Kamari Anderson been cleared yet? And what do you see out of him, and what do you see out of that room as a whole?
Yeah, he had an unbelievable camp. A crazy unfortunate thing, but he'll be back by the end of camp. So like he's moving around and stuff like that. He'll be cleared no later than conference play. Probably before then. I'm giving a very safe projection there. That's the plan at least. Who knows? But he's been a leader on our team. That room in general, I think, he sets a very high standard for not just who he is as like a player, but as a person, like how he leads people, how he shows up, how he interacts. He's really the side of him that I've loved to see is the side that, will get on people. Kamari's such a nice guy. To see him have the ability to say that's not right and correct people that's a very hard skill when you're a nice person to build. Is conflict. And I think his step as a leader was he didn't shy away from conflict when he needed it. And that's just not a skill that he'll use in football. That's a skill he's going to carry on forever in business and in the real world. But I like that room.
Craig, Damon, Blake.
Coach Craig Fouye, ABC 15. From the 30,000-foot view, you're heading into your fourth year. What do you see to change the most here? I know you just talked about attendance and season tickets, but what do you see within the football program inside that has kind of evolved over the last?
I would just say like big picture would be like expectations. And not just when people equate expectations, they equate them to wins and losses, right? That's the outside version. It's like we showed up here and there weren't things on the walls. All the walls were white, right? Which everybody has the different philosophy, right? And it's now the expectation is did the walls get updated every year? Do they have our people on it? Are the updated leadership council guys on the wall? Are the people who did a 3.0 on the wall? That's the minimum expectation. Do we have a home field advantage? We expect to have that now. People voted us one of the top, I think, 3 to 4 or whatever home fields in our league. That's an expectation now. We expect to play at home, play good football. We've won a lot of home games in the last 2 years. We expect that now. People expect us to play good football, right? Not just be in games. They expect us to win games. That's a good thing. If you achieve win expectations, you're going to do that once every probably 3 years. If you have real expectations, you're not going to achieve the expectation of the fan base every year. You should almost unfortunately, you're going to have way more letdowns than you do hit expectations because that's why they're fans, right? That's what you should have. So I would say expectations, everything in the organization, what me and my expectation for Graham and for the president, their expectation in me, everybody has a level of expectation that's higher throughout the entire organization leading into the city, into the valley, into the fan base. You guys have an expectation. I'm going to talk to you guys after practice almost every day. What if I stopped? The expectations are now here. It's just here.
Quick follow-up on that then. What have you seen changes in terms of size, strength, speed, skill level of the players you have?
This is our biggest team. I got to phrase this correctly. This is our we have the most total wingspan, okay, and most size that we have had on a team since I've been here. I think we have the most competitive depth, which means 0 through 105. I think the depth is the most we've had. I think we'll have the most position battles going into fall camp. Going back to 24, we had a bunch, but I think 24 we probably had 2 guys battling. Now there could be 3 guys battling or 4 guys battling for the 3rd D tackle spot. So I think that competition, the depth there is probably the biggest difference in the competitive depth. And part of that's the rules. It's not just us. The rules have changed so much. It's not like us being so great. We have 105 guys, different rules too. So it's not just us that have that. It's everybody that should have that in our league.
Damon, Blake, Adam.
Hey Kenny, Damon Allred, Arizona Sports. I know there's a lot of private workouts that go on during the summer, but one that stuck out to me was Cutter Boley working with Taylor Kelly. So I was just curious what you remember about coaching Taylor and what you hope Cutter gets out of that.
Yeah, Taylor, he won. What I remember is he won a lot of games, and the players loved him. And then I got the privilege of GAing with Taylor, and me and him worked together for a year, and he put in the work, super intelligent, always got tasks done. Like, he's a winner. So, like, I think for me, when watching or, when seeing our guys work out with a former player who found ways to win, right, under-recruited. People didn't think he was going to win the quarterback battle when he was battling it. He was the sneaky guy that showed up out of nowhere. Then he wins 10 games. He was a winner. And you want your guys to be surrounded by people that have habits of winners more than anything. So that's what I remember from Taylor is he's a really, really good person, and he was a winner, found ways.
And then quick second question. I know it's still early in this process for Brian Carrington, but how have you seen him adjust to his new roles and perhaps flourish in them?
Yeah, he's been awesome. He's been giving me ideas in all facets of the organization. Just spitballing. Have you seen this? Have you done that? What are your thoughts on this? And practice. What are your thoughts on this in recruiting? Why don't we do this? Have you ever done this before? So I think just his ability to have open dialogue with me and spit ideas, it's been awesome.
Blake, Adam,
Again, like in the Fox 10 News, going back to kind of Craig's point of the physical size on the team, was that something you've observed over the past 2 years coaching the Big 12 as far as around the conference, meaning a larger physical size team to be able to compete?
Yeah, I think, you could say chase size, you could say chase athleticism. I think there's different ways to build a team. If we want to, like our smart, tough, the ball of the team, tough mentally and physically, right? I think big people tend, in my opinion, to push little people. So if you can get big athletes that are the same athleticism, like they're probably going to push the other person backwards. So it sounds boring and fundamental, but like, if you can get the same level athlete that's bigger, you want that level athlete. Maybe that level of athlete wasn't going to choose to come here in the past, right? Maybe they are now, and we're building it. And it's a testament to everybody that's been here that we've been able to, hopefully, get better and, from an athleticism standpoint, hopefully get more improved depth as we go. So, yeah, that's by design. But it's a testament to, we wouldn't be able to do that if we hadn't had success with, the classes before us.
Hey, Kenny, Adam Beadle, DevilsDigest. You brought in a couple different running backs through the portal heading into the spring. You also have Tyson Brown on your roster. What kind of was your evaluation of spring and maybe meetings in the summer, stuff like that, about how they all meshed together and the opportunity to kind of use maybe a couple of them in various ways this season?
Yeah, I like multiple running backs. I like players that can play multiple positions on the field. If you can do more, you're harder to defend defensively because you don't know where you're going to be. It's like playing with a true, center and then playing with a stretch center, a guy who can pop out and shoot a three every once in a while. If you're so dominant, you can just do one thing, like put the ball in the post and you dunk. Great, you're dominant. Everybody has to create a plan around your dominance. But it's very hard to find players that are so dominant that defenses have to plan around. So if you can't, or if you don't have some of those dominant traits, then your ability to do multiple things is your X factor, because now are you in the backfield? Are you split out? Are you getting a handoff? Are you a wildcat? Are you a single receiver running a route? Think of Cam Scatterbo in an empty formation on a hitch and go. Like, your ability to do multiple things is now your separating factor. Running back is a position. A lot of those guys played quarterback growing up. Most of them caught the ball a lot. They're used to having the ball. A lot of them, if they played quarterback, they can probably catch. So I think it's just a position that translates to a really dynamic weapon on your offense. And I think we've utilized running backs well in the past with Coach Iguano. And I think that group's grown together just because, if you don't grow together, and if you're a selfish person here, you're probably going to be in a corner. Nobody's going to hang out with you. Nobody's going to talk to you. People are going to call you out. I'm going to call you out. The best way, if you want to play on Sundays, and you can't win a job here, the odds of it happening are probably not going to happen. So why are you upset anyways, right? If you want to have individual success, you need the people around you to succeed, right? If you are the boat, you need the water to float, and you need it to rise, right? And I think so for everybody, we're all in this together. So the better your teammate is, the better you're going to be. So I think that's just the philosophy. So we don't have much of that. One of our team goals is no selfish comments So like no selfish comments. It's all about the team and your own success will happen. I think it proved in last year's draft, those guys were about the team and they exceeded every expectation of every single person coming out of high school. All of those guys did coming into this program. Every expectation everybody set on them, they made the people around them better. They put in the work and then they reap the benefits. I think that's how it works.
Mike, then Hope.
Coach, good to see you, Mike. Just for a question. Digesting spring ball, obviously a lot of the early enrollment has been a thing, but what did you see in the look back from the young guys competition-wise, and how do you feel that there's something like?
Yeah, there's some young guys who are going to play. They're going to play. They're competing to be starters in the 2 deep. Definitely going to play special teams, especially with the new redshirt rule. You know, we've been kind of abiding by the new redshirt rule since I got here because I always believed it goes back to the rules changing. That's one that I believed they would never be able to prevent people from playing the 5th year, like the redshirt rule. So we've really never redshirted people for that reason because I didn't think it would survive 5 years. So that come to fruition, so continuing on that philosophy. But I think there's a bunch of young guys that have a real chance to play for us this year, more than we've had in the past. I think this will be our most plug-and-play freshman that we've had.
And then following to that, with those young guys and guys that came into the transfer portal, how do you feel that they've all just adjusted, like you're saying, to the culture, to the standards you've set, just get to know the guys?
Yeah, I think our leaders and I think our team did a great job bringing them in. I think our staff did a good job bringing the right guys. At the end of the day, you recruit to your culture just as much as your culture. You know, your culture can't cover up 40% of people that are not like-minded. Like, to me, everybody can have different personalities. Everybody can have different beliefs. Everybody can have different hairstyles, whatever, right? But your core principles of who you are, you have to agree upon. Are you a good person? You're going to make good decisions. And do you love ball? Do you have more fun coming in here every day? If you fill a team and those are your core values and say, we're going to take 40 people, add them to our team, and they're not that, the culture is never going to be carried on. So you have to be able to tell some people no, and then there may be a couple guys a year that you maybe don't fit those 3, and you're like, hey, our culture can raise them up. They're gonna grow here and become this. But so I would say we recruit to it, and then our players, we've all recruited to this culture. They like being here. They're not held hostage here. And they can choose to be here. And because they choose to be here and want to be here, they want to win. And then they want these guys to do what we think is necessary to win. So I think it just naturally happens because, once again, extreme ownership. This is their program, not mine.
Kenny, aside from Kamar Anderson, was there any other players you expect to be limited or out for fall camp?
Yeah, I think Harry was the same guys. I would say nobody from spring ball going in. There may be, we're still running, so there could be like a tweak or something here in the next couple days, but nobody going in different from spring ball unless something happens or, there's a curveball before camp.